Okay, so good day, everyone. Today in this video, we'll be talking about rational functions, equations, and inequalities. So, muna siya ang topics in yung module 5. Let's get started. First, what you need, of course, you need your gadgets, a pen or a pencil, your module, calculator, and the internet, maybe pieces of paper. So, this is just the orientation, and we are going to start with the orientation. So let's try to take a look at this problem daw. So, saan siya? There is a truck daw that delivers essential goods in remote areas that can travel 85 kilometers. Which of the following expresses the velocity v as a function of travel time t in hours? So, unsay mga given nato? We are given unsay pagpasabot nato ani. So there na daw truck daw nga nag-deliver essential goods sa remote areas nya maka-travel siya 85 kilometers. So this is our first nato nga given. Which of the following expresses the velocity v as a function of travel time t in hours? So another given kay ang velocity kay kuan. Actually mo na siya ang gi-ask sa problem. So we are asked to look for velocity nga we symbolize as v as a function of time. Okay, so on time is in hours, so this is another given, and yeah, we are given these choices. Now recall that ang velocity is equal to distance over time. So in this case, like, what do we need to, from the problem statement itself, ang distance, diba, is 85 kilometers from our given. This is the distance. And ang atong travel time is t in hours. So what does that look like kung ato ni siyang i-function form? So that would be v, v, velocity is v, mo ni siya. Diba? V, and yes, it is a function of travel time t. So ito na siyang i-function form. So that's v of t is equal to, ang distance over time, where ang distance is 85 kilometers over t. So our final natong equation is what we call 85 over t. Yeah, nabanis siya sa itong options? Yes, that would be A. So A is our correct na answer. Let me hear all drawings. Now, how about let's look at this scenario. So, if the truck in the previous problem was delayed by 4 hours due to the checkpoints that it passed. So, nasi truck niya, ma-delay daw siya by 4 hours because of the checkpoints na yung mga police nga kanakuan mag-check sa truck. What will be the time t as a function of v? So, in this case, baliktad na side ang pangayo. Okay? So, but we're given an additional clue. So, previously, we already have the clue that D was 85, diba? 85 kilometers. Unya, kanina pa, ang ask na sa nato is T as a function of V. Or, ano yang kipangayo, T of V. Unsay naong sa T of V. So, in this case, ay nanamataan ng relationship, di ba? From our previous number, we already established that V is equal to 85 over T. So, what do we do in order to turn, to look for T as a function of V? So, from the T as a function of V we will derive it from this nga relationship sa itong previous na ito nga number. So, V 85 over t. We need to isolate this variable on the left side. So what do we do with that? We are going to multiply both sides of the equation by t. So that would be v, t times v is equal to t times 85 over t. So t multiplied by, t divided by t, makancel out si t. And we have t times v equals to 85. Unya, napapunta yung v sa tong left side. So what we do is that we divide both sides by and multiply both sides by 1 over v. So that's t v 1 over v 85 over v. So kani siya si v mo cancel out. So ato ang t in relation to v is 85 over v. But it's not complete enough kay nga naman we have this additional clue. Madelay siya by 4 hours. So what we do is that do we ang atong time daw sa kada kanang matravel daw ni matravel daw sa truck is that madelay siya by 4 hours. So there would be an additional 4 hours. So it would be plus 4. So our final atong equation with t as a function of v would look like 85 over v plus 4. So kani siya, is this part of the kuan na to? Ito ang mga options? Yes, it is. So that is letter C. So C is our correct na to na answer. These nga the past two problems or nga final answers sa katong mga problems are examples of rational functions. Okay. So man siya ang atoang i-tackle today. So what are rational functions? Where is it gamit? So rational functions kay gamit na siya everywhere, like from vaccines for viruses to wherein if nakita ninyo sa inyong module the concentration of the effect the concentrations of drug that is needed to kill off viruses sa bodies could be expressed as in terms of a rational function. Ang traveling, as you can, based on the previous example later, di ba? V over D over T. Na siya ingana nga relationship nga rational ang iyahang rational na function ang iyahang form. Ohm's law, which is unsay nga na I is equal to, or the current is equal to the voltage over resistance. So this is another example of a relationship na rational ang iyahang rational na function. And then based sa inyuhang, if you scan through your another example sa inyuhang modules, will be good for relief goods distribution, wherein ang total na budget kay gi-divide siya by number of families, which is amao ang kanang budget na per family. So mana siya. So you should try to read through your module sa inyong para makita mo ani nga example. So mani ang naa sa module. Now, let's talk about what prior that let's talk about polynomial functions first. So what is a polynomial function? So this is just a review. Polynomial function. So let n be a non-negative integer. Non-negative integer, and let a sub n minus 1, or kanang mga coefficients ninyo sa aning form be real numbers with a sub n is that would be not equal to 0. So this is the general form of the polynomial functions. Okay, a sub n multiplied by the variable x raised to the power of n, and then along the way, it would be the succeeding na mga terms would be n minus 1 until the end of the equation. A sub n should not be equal to 0, pero ang uban nga in between here could be pwede ra equal to 0 as long as kanihin dili. So this is called the polynomial function of x with a degree n. So n is the largest exponent sa imuhang polynomial nga function. Okay? It would be the largest exponent of the polynomial nga function, or this one. And then the coefficient a sub n is the leading coefficient, or the coefficient or the number nga tapad sa variable x nga kung asa makit-an ang degree. And a sub o is the constant, or the kanang katong number nga walay attached na variable. So here are examples of polynomial functions. there are, if if the polynomial is just equal to a number, it's called a constant function. So this is called, kani sila, all of these kanang three, the linear, the quadratic, and the cubic function. I'm pretty sure this is just a review for you guys, but kinatakal na ni sa inyo ang grade 8 na math. So kani siya, this is a linear nga function. Kay, ang iyahang, ang iyahang form niya is, di ba, mx plus b. Anya, usara, ang iyahang ang iyahang highest niyang exponent is just equal to 1. So, what from these nga four nga different na special na polynomial functions, let's try to do a review. What is the degree, what is the leading coefficient, and what is the constant? So, ano siya? So, let's try to look at the constant function. What do you think is the highest degree here? O the highest na exponent? Diba? This 3 would just be equal to equal or equivalent yun siya to 3 times 1. And then the 1 here would be just be equivalent to x raised to the power of 0. So any number or any variable raised to the power of 0, that would be just equal to 1. So ato ang n for the constant function would be n is equal to 1. What about linear function? I'm gonna give you a short na, n is equal to 0 n is equal to 0, the degree is equal to 0. And then the leading coefficient is that equal ra siya sa atong constant, which is equal to 3. What about the linear nga function? What do you think is the degree? What do you think is the leading coefficient? And what do you think is the constant? So if you have your answers with you, let's ask ourselves, what is the highest na exponent nga nadiri nga function? Of course, it would be x is just raised, here it's raised to the power of 1. So ang ato ang degree would be equal to 1. Ang atong leading coefficient, or the number where the degree is located, that would be naman ang degree dire. So mao ni siya ang tuang leading coefficient, -2. And then our constant would be a sub, it would be equal to 1. What about quadratic na function? Pretty sure na ana mo'y idea dun sa ni siya, di ba? So what is the highest na exponent? The highest exponent would be 2. So n, or the degree, would be equal to 2. The leading coefficient, or the number kung asa makit-an tong variable with the degree, it would be 3. And then the constant, this would be equal to 2. Okay, this last part, sa'yo nakaayo siya, di ba? So what is the highest na exponent? It would be 3, of course. And then, ang ato ang a sub n, kung asa nakita ng degree, would be 4. And ang ato ang, ang atong constant would be equal to -7. So all of these, if you notice, ang constant function is that ang iyahang degree niya is 0. Linear function is nagka-anam-anam o ka-increase ang iyahang degree. So this is 0, this is 1, this is 2, this is 3. Remember that, by time to be. Okay, it's here. Remember that n cannot be a negative number, and it cannot also be a fraction. So, imperative kayo na siya nga dapat ang ato ang n nato, or ang atong mga exponents nato sa ato ang kanang polynomial na function, it should not be a negative number or a fraction. It should be just positive real integers. It should be a non-negative integer. Okay, next. So what are rational functions anyway? Nga nang gatakal man tauna sa polynomial nga functions. Why? Because ang definition sa rational function kay, it's the quotient of two polynomial nga functions. So, unsa ng quotient, di ba? At you divide. A rational function Rx is a function of the form P of x over Q of x, where P of x are polynomial functions and Q of x is not equal to 0. So this is very important na dapat si Qx or the denominator should not be equal to 0. So, ang domain na to for Rx or for the rational function is any set of real numbers. So, except for the ones nga makapa-0 ni Qx. Okay? Tama na siya. Remember that the polynomial functions, the Px and the Qx should be of the form nga the polynomial. So, this is the general form. So, both si Px and Qx should follow this format. So, let's try to look at this and try to answer this. So, are these rational functions nga with the definition nga atong na tackle kaniha? So, a of x, what do you think is the answer? This is our p of x. This is our q of x. Does px and is px a polynomial nga function? Yes, it is. Is Qx a polynomial nga function? Yes, it is. So it is, the Px is a polynomial function with a degree of 2, and Qx is a polynomial function with a degree of 1. What about Bx? So this is a rational function. What about P of x? Remember that kani si Bx, pwede rin na siya taken as all of this a whole expression over 1, di ba? So, mahog nga, maka-follow rin yapon siya form of P of x and Q of x. However, if this is our Px, remember that ang unsa ganitong rule sa polynomial nga equations, dapat our exponents should not include a fraction or a negative nga number. So, if nga naman ganito, does Px satisfy the definition sa polynomial functions? Of course not, because ang natayo sa ka-exponent nga fraction. So, since Px is not a rational function, it's not a polynomial function, so the whole expression of Bx is not a rational function. So, what about this one? Our numerator is just equal to 2, is a constant. Is Px in this case a polynomial function? Yes, it is. So it is a polynomial nga function because it is a type of constant nga function. What about Qx? Is it a polynomial nga function? Yes, it is. It is a polynomial function, specifically a linear nga equation nga ang iyahang degree is just equal to 1. So C of x is a rational function. What about this one? So this is kind of tricky, di ba? But pwede na natin siya makon. Remember nga, just like Bx, we can take this whole nga thing would be equal to 1. Okay? And remember that since mo na itong numerator, and mo na itong denominator, let's try to ask if we want to ask, is Px a polynomial nga function? No, because one of the exponents sa ani nga number is a negative nga number. Recall that ang polynomial nga functions should not have a negative exponent or a fraction as an exponent. So P of x is not a polynomial nga function. Q of x is a polynomial nga function. So ito sa constant nga function. Pero since P of x is not a polynomial function, then the whole nga D of x is a not rational nga function, just like B of x. even if ato ni siyang even if ato ni siyang like for example, kaninga part, ato ni siyang i-simplify further. Let's say 5x minus 1 plus 1. So, this is just equivalent to 5 of x plus 1. And, na siya, so on and so forth. So, dili dyan na siya not a rational nga function. Let's try to look for e of x. So, e of x, this is our p of x, and this is our q of x. So, our p of x would be, in this whole expression here is equivalent to, if you put it in another form, it would be x minus 4 raised to the power of 1/2. Okay, it's all under the umbrella of the square root. And i-copy lang nato si denominator. So kani palang daan, since it has an exponent of a fraction, this is not a polynomial functioning ato ang p of x. This is a polynomial nga function. So since na yung usahan nila kay dili man polynomial nga function, e of x is not a rational function. It's not a rational function. F of x is x plus 5. So just like the previous mga examples, we can take it as 1. Ang denominator niya is 1. So, kanya sa numerator nga side, is it a polynomial function? Yes, it is. So it is a polynomial function and linear expression. And then the denominator is a type of constant function. So it's also a polynomial function. So kani sila, since both of them are polynomial functions, polynomial functions. So atong f of x is a rational function. Okay, nagka-gets na guys. Yeah, you can just repeat everything. Rewatch everything. So, mana siya. So that's what happens for rational nga functions. But there are also other nga type of there is a difference between rational functions, rational equalities, and rational inequalities. So unsa may difference nila three? Ang rational equation is an equation involving a rational expression. So we have here the rational expression, the x over 4 over x minus 1 equals to a number. And then, if you notice, ang rational equation is pila man ka type of variables nga naa dira. We only have x, di ba? Wala tay y, wala tay f of x. So, it's really just, the whole expression just involves x. Unya, maka-extract ra ta sa x from the equation. Ang rational inequality is similar sa rational equation except it involves the greater than or less than nga sign. So it involves these types of signs instead of the equals nga sign. So from the word itself, inequality. So it does not involve the equal sign. Ang equation kay naman siya root word nga equal. So it will always involve the equal nga sign. So kani siya man siya similar ni sila nga usara ka buok variable ang involved, which is ang x for the rational equation and inequality. Pero however, a rational function is a function of the form ng f of x. Like it is a function in itself, ma-express siya sa ani nga format where p of x and q of x are polynomial functions and q of x is not the zero function. So, ang kani siya, for rational nga functions, we have two types of variables. So we have our independent variable, which is the x. And we also have the dependent variable, which is the f of x or the y, or could be the y. Okay? So, muna siyang striking difference between the rational equation and rational function. Kay kani siya ang x, ang atong makuha lang ato ani sa simplification would be just the value of x, unsay value ni x. Pero kani siya, what we will get for the whole na expression of a function is that we get an equation or a set of values nga pwede nato ma-graph sa kuan. Mag-graph nato sa ma-plot nato sa Cartesian plane. Okay? So, ano siya? It involves two variables ning rational function. And yeah, it follows this format P of x, and yeah, Q of x wherein kani sila duha are polynomial functions. So let's try to look at these examples niya. Let's try to answer or determine whether these expressions are rational functions, rational equations, o rational inequality, or wala nila. So kani, first, number 1. Is this a rational equation? Pila ang variables involved? So we only have x, di ba? And what type of sign ang naa sa iyaha? We only have the equal sign. So this is a rational equation. What about number 2? How many variables are involved? We only have just the x. What type of sign ang involves expression? So it is a it is 5x greater than or equal to the other nga left or right-handed expression. So this is an rational inequality. Remember that matawag na siya nga rational nga kung ang equation or inequality is both an equation and inequality if one of the sides kay expressed siya as a rational expression or mo follow siya sa form P of x over Q of x. Okay? So in this case kay namatay usa ka term dire sa number 1 nga wherein ni follow ani nga format. Anya sa second one, we also have this side nga ni follow sa ani nga format. So both of them are kanang of the rational nga umbrella. What about this one? Number 3, is it a rational function, rational equation, rational inequality? How many variables are there? So we have x. And then we also have f of x. So we express mo ni siya in sa ngani nga format. So this is a rational nga function. Since there are two nga variables, we have f of x and x. And then kani side kani follow sa siya sa format of the rational na expression yung format. How about number 4? So we have x over 2 over x minus 1 equals to y plus 3. Remember that y could be represented by f of x. So how many variables are there? So we have x and we also have y, which could be represented as f of x. So this is called a rational function. What about this last one? It's a very, very questionable kind of piece. So, how many variables are involved? We only have x, diba? Unsa nga type of sign ang involved? We are involved with a less than nga sign. However, pila man ang degree sa left nga ang nasa left ka side is of the rational nga expression nga format. What about the right side? The right side is naman siya square root. So this is just equivalent to x plus 3 raised to the power of 1/2, which does not follow the rational nga expression nga format because of its exponent nga fraction. Kaya dapat man siya polynomial sad. So this is none of the above. Okay, naka-gets na mo guys. Naka-follow ra mo. If wala, then you're always welcome to review this video again. So thank you. Let's try to proceed the next video for the problem solving examples. Okay. Mm.